So now we get to our bread and butter of this video series, which is to be able to put the pupils in this particular template that we're going to use for import. Okay, so let's get started. We go to our list, to our class list that we have, and you can see that this is so we have these are grade 9, this is 9A, 9B, 9C, we have 11A, 11B. So let's start with the grade 8. Okay, we want to start with the grade 8. Of course, you can put this in any order, but I'll show you why sometimes when you put, for instance, all the 8s together is much more advantageous. I'll show you the reason. So let's start with 8A. So over here, we have the list of the pupils in 8A. Okay, and now what we're going to do is remember I told you that you need to change your F's. These F's need to be changed. So before you actually take your data into the template, so remember that the template expects that you use female or male, not just F or M. So before you take your data into the template, so this is good because these have already put, you have surname and first name, which is a very good thing. Now for some of you, all right, for some schools, your pupils, the pupil names might not even be split like this, where you have last name and first name. It could be that you combined the names. So let me just show you quickly how you could split those pupil names. And I'm going to show you an example here. I think I have some data from Kalomo. Let's see if I was to open this one here. This is some data from Kalomo Secondary. It's one of the systems that is, one of the schools that is using our system, and these ones had a lot of, let's see, no, I think this one was already, I think this is data that I'd already worked on, which was already split. So I need to get, oh yeah, it should be this one, maybe the class list, yes. Yeah, oh no. Okay, good. So here's a perfect example now. This is some data from Kalomo, like I said, and you can see here that in this class, this is 11M. The pupil names were all put together. There's nothing like surname and first name. Okay, and you might have a case like this one where the names are not split, so you don't need to start manually copying, like where you copy this and remove it and copy that. So if you already wrote them, with a particular pattern where you are starting with surname and then last name, surname and then first name, then it's very easy. Okay, so all you need to do to clean up a file like this one is, first of all, let's remove this top part. Okay, so you remove this top part. Let's delete that, we don't care about it. And then what you need to do is, we are going to split these names. You need to create some space for them. Okay, you need to create some more columns for the split. So we have to do an insert. We can even select, like, let's insert maybe 4 columns. So you select even up to 4 columns, and then go to the top of the columns and right click, then say insert. Alright, so I'll undo that so that I do it again. So what did I do? I know that I'm going to split these names, so it's possible that I could end up with 3 or 4 columns, because some names, some people could have 4 names or 3 names and so forth. So this is why I said go to the next column after name, which is X, and drag maybe to the right up to 4 columns or even 3, it's okay, and then say insert. So it creates a space like for 4 more columns. Now that we have this, the next thing we want to do is to split this column, okay, by a space, so that these names could be split into last name and first name. How do you do that? You select the column that you want to split, then in your Excel you go to data, and then you can see here there's text to columns. You see this? So we were at home, so first I select the column that I want to split, then I go to data, then I go to text to columns. Alright, so when I click text to columns, it will bring up this menu item. How do you want to split? Do you want to use fixed width or a delimited, meaning by some character like a tab or a space or a comma? So I'll say I'm going to use delimited because my names are separated by a space. So I'll say delimited, and then I'll click next. And then here you're asked, what character are you using to separate the text that you want to split? So we are using a space. We're not using tabs. We're using space to separate these names. Alright? So we say we're not using a tab, we're using a space. And you can see already it even shows you a preview of how your names will be split. So you're going to have Chihebule, and you're going to have Mini, and so forth. And then we say next. And of course we can just leave it. Yeah, this is general. It's text. Then we say finish. It will give you a warning that there's already data here. Do you want to replace it? It's because it's talking about this these new columns you added, maybe because of the formatting. Just say OK. Now don't do that if you didn't create empty columns, because if you do that, if let's say you didn't move the sex column further right, it's going to replace everything in there. You will lose that data. So that's why I said first you have to create empty columns by inserting new ones, and then you do the split. And you can see that now we have these names that are split. Okay, that's it. So this is how you split the names. Now the next thing that we want to do, I also said that for the sex you need to change it from M or F into male or female. So what we're going to do is to write a simple formula next, like in the next column just after sex. So how do you write formula in Excel? You put an equal sign, and then you use an if. You say if. Okay, so you can put an if here and say if this cell, okay, if this cell says M, like that, put a semicolon. What should be the result? Put a semicolon. Then we want to say male. Okay, otherwise you put a semicolon for the else condition. Otherwise it should say female. Once you finish your if, you put a right space there, right bracket, and then press enter. So you can see automatically to put male, and you can simply drag this down like this. You drag it down up to there, and for each of these people you need to put male, female, male, female. Wherever there's an M, to say male. Wherever there's an F, to say female. So this is what we'll be doing for our data. Okay, and here I've used some example of some data from Kalomo Secondary. So now if we are to get back to our data here for Terry, which is this one, the goodness with these is they already have, this split into surname and first name. So the only thing we'll have to do is to put the male female aspect, change the sexes from F and M to female and male. So I'm going to copy this formula. I'm going to copy this formula here. Alright, and which is actually a good thing. I think that I use this one, which involves a trim. So I'll copy this and I'll put this here. Escape. So I want to copy the formula, and maybe let me paste it into some, because I know sometimes Excel misbehaves, just escape there. Let's copy this and go to the, please excuse me, I have a flu, unfortunately. Alright, so we go to the Terry data there. So let's paste the formula in here. But what we want is to pull this data from cell D, not this G41. We want to pull this from, this is D what? D2, which is this. Okay, like that. And then what you do next is to just pull this down so that it applies it to all the pupils, like that. So first we want to do this for all the classes. If you can do it for all the classes instead of doing it per class, better to do it like that. So I've done it, and of course you only need to do this formula, write your formula once, and then afterwards you can just be copying it. You copy that, go for example to 9a. After 6 there, you paste it in here, the same thing. Then you just drag like that up to the end, like that. So please follow closely. So here what we are doing is we are transforming our data, moving it from this F and M to female and male. All right. So we're going to do this for all the classes first before we even start copying it to the other, to the template. So we've done it for 9a, we've done it for 9b. Let's do it for 9c because 9c hasn't been done. So remember, we're putting the formula just next to the F. Put it in the cell next to the sex cell, to the sex column, I mean. Okay, so now it's done for 9c, and then we need to do that for all the classes. Now, instead of me boring you with all this stuff, I'm going to pause the video. I do this for all the classes, and then I'll continue. Alright, so I'm done with all the classes, as you can see over here. So we have 9a, we have 9b, we have 9c. So for now, I'm just going to save this so that we don't lose any of the work that we've done so far. So all this is still in the data pre-processing stage. This is data pre-processing stage. So remember, first we created classes, next we went through understanding our template, and now I was showing you how you prepare your data for the template. Okay, the first thing is that when you're preparing your data, if your names are not split into surname and last and first name, then you need to do the split, and I showed you how you could do that with first of all, where you have to create some space for the new columns, and then you have to go to data, and then you have to do text to columns, and then all that process. And then the next thing after that is to change, if you are using F and M for male and female, then you need to change it to female, like that, because that's how the system is actually doing it. In the system we use these full words, the male and the whole words, male, female. Alright, so that's it. After you've done this, the next thing that you actually need to do is to the next thing that you need to do is the next thing that you need to do is actually to copy this data now and take it to the template, and that's what we're going to do in the next video. Great.